Think about the best meal you've ever eaten. Really try. Where were you? Who were you with? What did it taste like? Now think about the last time someone said something that genuinely hurt you. That one came faster, didn't it? You didn't have to try. It was just there, sharp, detailed, almost word for word. And the strange thing about this is that both of those things happened to you. Both were real experiences in your real life. But your brain didn't treat them equally. It never does. It filed the painful one in high definition and compressed the good one into something vague and hard to hold on to. This isn't a personality flaw, pessimism, or even trauma. It's regular human engineering. And once you understand how it works, you'll start to see exactly how much of your life it's been running. In 1998, psychologists John and Gary published a study that should have been uncomfortable reading for everyone. They showed participants a series of images. Some were positive, a happy child, a pizza, a sunset. Some were neutral, a plate, a rock, a lamp. Some were negative, a crime scene, a disfigured face, a car accident. While the participants looked at the images, John measured their brain activity. The negative images produced responses that were measurably, significantly, neurologically more intense than the positive ones, even when the researchers matched the emotional intensity of the images as closely as possible. Your brain, on a purely electrical level, cares more about bad things than good ones. Psychologists call this negativity bias. And before you think this is some niche finding from one obscure study, it has been replicated across cultures, age groups, and decades of research. One of the most consistent findings in all of psychology. You are not wired for happiness. You are wired for survival. And survival, for most of human history, meant one thing: don't get killed. A beautiful sunset never killed anyone. A predator did. So your brain learned to pay attention to the predator and file the sunset under miscellaneous. But it goes deeper than just attention. The way your brain stores memories is not like a camera or a neutral recording of what happened. It's a selective archive, and the archivist has a very specific agenda. When something happens to you, especially something emotional, your brain releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is your stress response. And most people like you don't know that cortisol signals danger, which directly enhances memory consolidation. Specifically in the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for emotional processing, high cortisol levels during an event essentially tell your brain, "This matters, engrave it." Which is why you remember exactly where you were when you got terrible news. Why you can still hear the tone of voice someone used when they humiliated you in public 10 years ago. Why your brain can replay arguments in cinematic detail while the good days blur together into a general warm feeling you can barely describe. The bad stuff got cortisol. The good stuff mostly didn't. And your brain archived accordingly. Now at this point you might be thinking, okay, negativity bias exists, evolution explains it, let's move on. But that explanation doesn't account for something important. We are no longer living in the environment this system was built for. The predators are gone. The immediate physical threats that justified this level of vigilance, mostly gone. And yet the system is still running. At full power. In a world it was never designed for. Which means every awkward conversation is getting the same neurological treatment as a lion attack. Every critical comment. Every rejection email. Every moment you said something slightly wrong in a room full of people. Your brain flagged all of it as survival relevant and stored it accordingly. And the good days, the ordinary, unremarkable, quietly pleasant days that make up most of an actually good life, got filed under not urgent and slowly degraded. This is your memory architecture working exactly as designed, in a world that has completely outgrown the design. And then there's the part that makes this even stranger. In the early 1990s, psychologist Daniel, whose surname I can't pronounce and would later win the Nobel Prize, ran a study on pain memory that changed how we think about experience entirely. He had participants submerge their hand in painfully cold water for 60 seconds. Then he had them do it again, but this time for 90 seconds. The first 60 seconds were identical. The last 30 seconds, the water was slightly warmer. Still uncomfortable. Still cold. But less intense than the peak. When participants were asked which trial they'd prefer to repeat, the majority chose the 90-second trial. The longer one. The objectively more painful one. Why? Because it ended on a less intense note. Daniel called this the peak end rule. Your brain doesn't average your experience. It doesn't calculate the total amount of pleasure or pain you felt. It takes two data points, the most intense moment and the final moment, and constructs your memory of the entire experience from those two alone. Everything in the middle essentially disappears. Your memory of an event is not a record of what happened. It's a story your brain constructed from two frames, weighted heavily toward the worst part. You have never remembered anything exactly as it occurred. Not once. So what does this actually mean for your life? The internal narrative you've been carrying, the one where the bad moments are vivid and the good ones are hazy, is not an accurate account of your life. It's a heavily edited version, produced by a system that was optimizing for your survival in a world that no longer exists. The bad relationship that still feels more real than the good one that followed it? That's cortisol and the amygdala, not the truth. The one failure you remember more clearly than 10 successes? Peak end rule, not evidence. The reason you can replay your worst moments on demand, but struggle to genuinely feel your best ones? Negativity bias, not who you are. None of this means the bad things didn't happen. They did, and your feelings about them are real. But your memory of your own life has been systematically curated by a brain that is still, on some level, trying to keep you alive in a world it was built for 200,000 years ago. You are walking around with an archive that was never designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep you breathing. And the uncomfortable question that leaves you with is this. If your brain has been secretly distorting your personal history this entire time, quietly amplifying the pain and compressing the joy, how much of what you believe about yourself is actually true? And how much of it is just your amygdala filing paperwork? Your brain didn't lie to you. It just had different priorities than you did.